I've been asked a question and I'm going to address it right now. And that is, what do I do with my 401k from my previous employer? And that really depends on your investments and how your 401k is performing. But I'll share a bird's eye view of your 3 choices, and additionally, I'll tell you what I did. Now, your first choice is that you can roll over your old 401k into an IRA. Now, if you've decided to roll over your 401k into an IRA, here's 3 considerations to think about. First of all, make sure that you've gotten all of your money that you're entitled to from your previous employer. So while the money that they contribute into the account goes in at the same time that your contribution goes in, it's not uncommon for profit-sharing plans and cash balance plans from the prior year to fund the following year. So wait until all of your funds have been placed in there. Otherwise, you'll have to contact your previous employer and you'll have to roll that over again. Now, the second consideration you need to take into account is when you pull it, do not dollar cost average. When you roll it over, it needs to go straight over as a lump sum. Since it was fully invested already, you need to just roll it over into the market. And third, when you roll it over, you need to ask your broker this specific question: how can I roll this rollover or any portion of it in kind without liquidating it? Because that way, you won't get out of the market and then liquidate it and risk losing money depending on what the market's doing. Now, your second choice is that you can roll your old 401k into your new 401k with your new employer. And that's something you might want to ask them about. And then third of all, you can keep it where it is depending on how well it's performing, assuming that the account is large enough to justify staying in that plan. The factors you need to consider are what are the cost and fee differences. And to be honest, a financial advisor can really help you work through your own scenario, but what I recommend that you don't do is cash it out. And of course, a lot of people will say the 401k won't be worth tomorrow what it is today. And there is some truth to that because of inflation. But inflation is only 2 to 3%, and your growth is actually 6% or higher. So you're still growing in wealth for your retirement. Now, on the flip side, if you're thinking about pulling out of a Roth 401k, there aren't income taxes generally with that account. However, there is still a 10% penalty from the IRS. So now to the question, what did I do with my old 401k? Well, what I did is I rolled it over from my previous 401k into an IRA. And I actually moved it over from Fidelity to LPL, and I hired a financial advisor to handle those investments. And then I started contributing to a Roth IRA and also into a high-yield savings account. Now, I did this because my financial advisor is more knowledgeable about the market than I am, and he watches it every day, unlike me. I consider myself a beginner, and I'm really not that experienced with investing. So because he's watching the market every day, he can get higher returns for me. And from those high returns, I pay him a small percentage. Now, while there is a cost, the returns outweigh those costs. So, for example, last year in October, when the market took a large dip, my financial advisor bought in with my funds, and that got me a 14% growth in only 4 months. Now, had I just been investing it long-term in those funds, I only would have made about a 3.5% growth. So I strongly recommend getting a financial advisor. Now, if you want to see how I obtained that 14% in only 4 months, I recommend clicking on this video here to see my investment strategy. And with that, guys, I will see you next week.